hard, but being a medical mom is like a different world. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to just be doing the video about my pregnancy more in depth with baby number 2. So with that pregnancy, when I first even got pregnant, I didn't even take a pregnancy test at all, like as you see in the video, versus my first baby. There was no pregnancy test, reaction, whatever. It was literally a week before Thanksgiving and I just felt I was pregnant. I knew I was pregnant. I was sitting on the couch with my first baby, Kai, and all of a sudden I was just like, in my head, I'm literally just like, I'm pregnant. Like, I know I'm pregnant. And I had told my stepmom, I was like, I'm literally pregnant. Like, and I didn't even take a test yet. And so I found out super early because I just felt it. But I also felt that like, not something was wrong, but like, it just felt so different. Like, it felt so different, and not in a way that it was like, oh, it's a girl, because my first baby's a boy. So it wasn't like, oh, it's different because it may be a girl. It was different, like something's just not right. I don't know. I kind of can't explain it, but I just feel like I knew that something was going on with the baby. So fast forward to me being I was 13 weeks when I found out the gender of the baby. So as you guys know, or if you don't know, you can go to places that aren't your doctor's offices and you can pay to get your gender early. So that's what I did. I got my gender early. So I was at the gender place and he was like looking for a while. It took him kind of a while to find, the sex of the baby. This time around, I was just finding out. It wasn't gonna be a secret. I wasn't doing a gender reveal or anything. But with Kai, he kind of found it immediately. So I'm like, okay, like what's going on? And eventually he was just like, okay, yeah, it's a girl. Like, I confirmed it's a girl. And then I asked him literally like over and over, like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And he just kept saying, yeah, it's a girl, it's a girl, it's a girl. And I'm like, okay, like, he's the ultrasound tech. So I'm like, okay. I go with that, and like we leave, and I still just couldn't believe it. Like, I could not wrap my head around that I was having a girl, because the whole time I felt like I was having a boy, like literally, like, and I'm very in tune with just me. So I was like, I cannot believe it. But then, I just got used to the idea, wrapped my head around it, because like I said, he's the professional. So I was just like, okay, I'm having a girl. I even went and bought a bunch of girl stuff. I went girl crazy, like literally went girl crazy. So that was that. Fast forward to my 20-week appointment. I was there at that appointment, and when you go to this appointment, if something is like, they see something that's alarming or wrong per se, they'll do the ultrasound, and then they'll be like, okay, we'll take you into this room and the doctor will come and talk to you. So with my first pregnancy, that did happen, but only because my first baby, he had a bright spot on his heart, which isn't very abnormal. And it just went away on its own before he was even born. Like, the next ultrasound that I had at that point, it was gone. So it wasn't really like a crazy thing that they told me. So when the ultrasound tech told me that this time around with baby number 2, I was like, okay, well, maybe he just has a bright spot like my first baby did, like Kai did. So I go into the room, and I'm by myself too. So it was just like, it's always nerve-wracking, that appointment. So I go into the room, the doctor comes in, and she just has like a whole list of things, like, and I couldn't even tell you what everything was, but I kid you not, the list was so long. Like, it was so long, and not all of those things were accurate. Like, not all of those things are something that he's experiencing. I'm gonna tell you guys what I can remember off the top of my head. So she told me that he wasn't a girl, that he was a boy, and that his penis was just tucked. She told me that his heart looked fine, but they weren't sure, so that was just in the air. They told me that He was an Iugr baby, so intern uterine growth restriction. So basically is not growing at the rate that they would like to see the baby growing. So he was smaller for his gestational age than what he should have been. And they told me also that he has a 1 vessel umbilical cord. So I believe it's supposed to be 2 or 3. I think it's 2, but it might be 3. Don't quote me on that. But he had a 1 vessel cord. So that just means the amount of blood and oxygen that from the placenta to him, it was only 1 vessel that was working. And they told me that his cerebellum in the back of his brain was smaller than normal and that he had a whole bunch of fluid in his brain. And then that also his heart was very big, and so it was kind of suppressing his diaphragm, so his lungs were kind of like cramped in a way. They told me that his nasal bone, so like right here, was like super flat, and that could be, all of these things together could mean some type of chromosome issue or you know, disability. So we did blood work also, and then his dad also did blood work at a later time. But yeah, that was basically that appointment. And then the doctor, the genetics doctor also came in, and she went over like her side of things, and then like went over like what the blood work would cover and stuff like that, and what kind of things we could find out with the blood work. And then they both were kind of just like, you know, we don't know how his survival rate would be with all of these different aspects and whatnot. And they're basically just like, you know, we would recommend aborting the baby just because of his quality of life wouldn't be great, basically. And at this point, I'm 20 weeks pregnant. Like, I've been carrying this baby for 20 weeks. Like, I can feel this baby inside of me all the time, you know? So I was just like, there's just no way. I knew in my heart there was no way that I could do that. But they were like, you have up until 25 weeks to decide. So that was that. You know, I was a mess. It's my baby. I was crying. So I got into the car. Once I got into the car, I was just, you know, like praying, and I was just like, there's no way I could like abort my baby, basically. Like, there's just no way. And so I was like, I'm gonna advocate for myself and my baby, of course. So I got home. Once I got home, I just like, before I even told anybody, before I even told his dad, like what the doctors, because like I said, I was alone. So before I even told anyone what the doctors had said, I literally like looked up a second opinion place that like specializes in basically problems with pregnant women's baby. Like, so I found Seattle Children's Neonatal Center that is here in Seattle. I called them, and my first appointment, my 20-week appointment with the previous doctors was when it was like on a Tuesday. I called them that same day, and I got into their office on that Thursday. And so when I got to their office, they did like an echo on his heart. So an echo ultrasound on it, just his heart. That was like an hour alone by itself. And then I got a regular ultrasound of like the overall picture of him in general, and that was also about an hour. And then and those were on the same day. So I was there for a total of about like 3-4 hours. Because after I went into a room and I waited for the doctors to come in, I seen multiple different doctors. I seen the genetics doctor, cardiologist doctor, neurologist doctor. Like, I seen so many different doctors that first initial visit. And I got so much information, but they were much more supportive, and they were just kind of like, however you want to move forward, we'll support you, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, we can help you through this time. They didn't really like say they recommended an abortion, which was nice to hear, you know? And a lot of the things that the previous doctors did tell me weren't things that they were concerned about, or basically like they ruled them out. Like, they were like, oh no, that's not the case. It's this and this and this, not that and that and that. So yeah, I'm definitely, if you're pregnant and you're watching this video and like you got some type of news, or this, whatever news it may be, always get a second opinion. Always, always, always get a second opinion. So they did tell me that he definitely does have congenital heart disease, which is something that the previous doctors did not disclose or could see. And then they did tell me that, you know, the fluid in his brain was accurate and that his cerebellum was in the back of his head was smaller. They did also say that his placenta was only a 1 vessel artery placenta. They did also confirm that he was an Iugr baby, and that his lung, he had one lung that was missing, and that his heart was big, so it was suppressing his rib cage. And that is pretty much it for that. So after all of that information, of course, it's hard to take in. It was a lot, but they are great. They were great. After that first initial appointment with them, I did have them take over my whole entire care, because sometimes they can have like your regular doctor and they'll be your like secondary doctor. But I was like, no, because the previous doctors, they did know some things, but I just wasn't really comfortable with them, and they just weren't really on top of the things how it was down in Seattle. So they did end up taking over my whole entire care, which I love them, throughout my whole entire pregnancy. But I did have to travel a long ways every week. So from about 21 weeks to about 30 weeks, I had an appointment once a week, and I got an ultrasound, an echogram, and a regular routine follow-up every single week from 21 weeks to about 30 weeks. And then at 30 weeks to 37 weeks, I went two times a week, and then like the last week I went 3 times. And then I got induced, as you guys seen in my video, I got induced at 37 weeks due to him being an Iugr baby, uterine growth restriction. So because after about 37 weeks, they are higher risk for stillborn, stuff like that, and just more complications. But I was already high risk before I even found out about any of this, because with my first pregnancy, I also did have an induction at 37 weeks. So regardless of his problems or, you know, issues during pregnancy, I would have gotten induced regardless. And as you guys seen my induction video, if you haven't seen my induction video, then you can go ahead and go watch it. Baby number 2, with my first pregnancy, I did have a natural labor. So I definitely was wanting that again. And even though I got induced, I was still able to do the natural labor with no medicine and, you know, push vaginally. So it was kind of hard having to go through an emergency C-section with my second baby, but, you know, we're here and it happened. So all is well. But he's almost 5 months. He'll be 5 months old on the 13th of December. So this month, he is still in the NICU. Well, he's in the cardiac ICU, but he did spend time in the NICU as well. He's been in the cardiac ICU since his open heart surgery. And that video will be a separate video that I can go into, like, how our NICU journey has been so far, and like just tips on if any other moms are going through the NICU journey, and or if you are about to go through the NICU journey. But as far as my pregnancy and how I found out about his diagnosis and all of those type of things, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you following my journey can help you in your journey, whatever your journey may look like, because it's not the same for anyone. It's not the same for any one family, any baby. Everyone is different. Everybody's journey is different, but it makes a difference when you have support or when you hear other people's stories. Because when I was pregnant, I was looking up so many YouTube videos about every single thing that they said, and like said what was going on with my baby. There were some videos I could not find. There was some videos I did find that was helpful. And if you are a heart mom like me, there is such a huge community in the heart mom or heart family, heart baby community. Like, I don't think I would have gotten through it without them, to be honest, because they were just such great support through it all. They're still great support through it all. So yeah, it was just amazing. It is amazing. And we're here. Like, we're all here. It's being a mom is hard, but being a medical mom is like a different world. It's truly a different world, but I wouldn't change our journey for the world. And like I said, stay tuned for the NICU journey video. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe, comment, whatever, share with whoever you may want to share with, or who you feel called to share, or someone that may need to hear my journey. You could also follow me on Instagram because I do share a lot of our journey on there. Yeah, so peace.